first place, let's take a look at the UML diagram where you can see all the entities related to our billing model. Now let's create a merchant account. In order to create a merchant account, we will use our REST API, sending a HTTP POST request with the needed parameters. Let's see this in action with curl. As you can see, the HTTP POST request is successful and we get the response that includes the API key and the API secret. After the account creation, let's send another request for the merchant authentication, where we have to provide the API key and the API secret of the merchant. In our system, with the curl command, we can see how we have just obtained an ID and the endpoint that will be used in the following operations. Let's register a payment gateway. In this case, we will register Braintree and we will make use of the endpoint obtained before. Back again into our system, we can see how the request is carried out and the response obtained. Now it's time to register a provider. That will be OpenStack, and we will state the Ceilometer endpoint using the 8777 port. As we can see, the provider is successfully registered, and we can continue with the following steps. This request will import products from the provider that we have just registered. With curl, we can see the request stating the ID of the provider. To finish the merchant side, let's create a product plan, where we will state the details of our items. In this long request are stated all the products and roles applicable, and we can see in the response how the plan is successfully created. We are going to need a tenant for the billing process, so let's obtain a tenant ID from our system. The request is carried out and we have obtained the tenant ID that will be used later on whenever we create our subscription. In order to create a customer account, we will provide the customer details. Again with curl, the HTTP POST request is sent to the server and the response provides us with the customer ID. Finally, we are going to create a subscription for the just created customer. In this last step, it's stated the provider, the plan, and all the information needed to send a successful request that will create the subscription, giving us back the subscription ID. Once all the elements have been created, we can generate a bill with this request. Let's see how it's done live. After the billing, we can list invoices and manage them. Let's see this final request with curl. That's all. This has been a brief example of our billing API performing request operations with curl to the billing stack application in CloudFoundry, where an OpenStack resource has been invoiced. You can read more about this at stacksherpa.com. Thanks for watching.